All right, so moving on, let's knock out sudden substitution. This is our budget segment every week where we take an expensive card in Commander and give you some budget options. So this week, we're looking at a pricey one here and a unique one almost, Training Grounds from Rise of the Eldrazi. It's a $40 rare. Of course, it's pretty good. It's 1 mana blue enchantment. Activate abilities of creatures you control costs up to 2 less to activate. It can't go down to less than 1 mana. This card is a combo machine, and at $40, not everyone can afford it. So we want to look at some of the other options that budget-conscious players might want to play instead. So Jason, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
So, Substitution is it's a segment where we try to pick a card that's very similar. I wanted to pick something that was in like at least one color. When you're using Training Grounds, a lot of the time you're trying to do some sort of Thrasios BS, and Biomancer's Familiar is in those Simic colors. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate, but it can't reduce that mana cost to 0. So otherwise you would just like just draw your whole deck with Thrasios. So like you still have to pay the 1, but Biomancer's Familiar is like it's a bulk rare, from Ravnica Allegiance. It has a second ability on it where you can make something adapt as though it were like hadn't adapted yet. And like, that's fine because some of your decks are going to run, I don't know, some of the adapt cards from Ravnica Allegiance. Like there's one that taps for like 3 mana if it's adapted. So that's cool.
Yeah. Incubation Druid.
Yeah. But for the most part, like who cares? Biomancer's Familiar is just like, it's a training ground with feet. So that's for the low cost of complete bulk. That's a card to check out for sure.
Yeah, and I have another complete bulk one to add in here, a really recent one. And look, when we talk about Training Grounds, the fact of the matter is it's $40 for a reason. Very few cards do what it does. And there's not even as many enough cards in just blue, as you see from us already having to reach out to a green card. But every deck that wants this effect is not necessarily blue, and that's why I want to point out this new one here. Zirda, the Dawnwaker. Maybe you can play this, maybe you can't. It's a red-white card, but it's a companion from Ikoria. Now, the companion ability is that each permanent card in your starting deck has an activated ability, so it is something you can build around, but you don't have to. You can play it as part of the 99, and you can play it for 3 mana. It's a 3/3. Abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. Can't reduce it to less than 1. So it's just another way to get this ability. And this one is interesting because if you really value this ability, you can build around it now. And in colors you couldn't necessarily do if you looked at Training Grounds and always wanted to play it but couldn't. Zirda may be the ticket for you. Now, Zirda can also keep creatures from blocking. Maybe that's relevant in your deck, maybe not. But it is at 50 cents, an incredibly cheap option if you can play the colors.
And you don't have to worry about Zirda's requirement that everything has an activated ability. If you just throw it in the 99,
yep,
like where Training Grounds was anyway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, DJ, what do you got?
Multicolor option. I have one that is colorless.
I like
it. A very old card from Stronghold, Heartstone. This card was originally designed to work with slivers. And you can tell that by the fact that, number 1, it was in Stronghold. Number 2, it works for everybody's creatures. So
number 3, it was in the Slivers Precon, right? Like, there's the Stronghold version, then there's the foil premium Slivers
premium deck series. Yeah, that thing where it's only one of those things. It's a deck. The cards aren't really premium because the foiling's awful, and it wasn't really a series because they did 3 and then stopped.
Yeah.
What was the Graveborn, the Slivers, and then the like burn spells, Fire and Lightning or whatever. Yeah.
So Hearthstone is actually up to close to $5 now, but it does work for everybody's creatures. All creature activated abilities cost 1 less. So your Sliver Queen is suddenly doing really degenerate things, and your Ashling and your Grenzo and Xantia, but Kenrith's another big one recently that kind of caused the card to go up in price a little bit. But yeah, Hearthstone. It might get a reprint soon. It seems like the kind of card they'd throw in a Mystery Booster too or something like that. But
yeah, we'll see.
That's kind of all we got for this one.
Yeah, why?